What I got from that is like, okay, are you trying to say like men don't want appreciation being shown towards them, or is that only a one-way street? So it's like, even if the intent was cool behind the video, which I don't know, you say you watched more shit than I have,
I had to
but
go research, brother.
right, let's just say the intent was good, the message can be delivered wrong, once again, to the wrong listener. So appreciation goes two ways, especially in relationships. You know what I mean? So men just have a way of being effective and showing love, and women have a way of being effective and showing love as well. When there's a disconnect between those actions, now we got a problem. And it's not just to say that men don't deserve love, appreciation, and all these types of things either. So it's a balance there. And I think what's happening now is men are becoming more frustrated with not receiving that type of appreciation on a scale. You know what I mean? Versus their faults, their fuck ups, them being condemned. That's always been at an all-time high. It's always been the if men didn't fuck up, you probably wouldn't even have female R&B music. You know what I mean? Like, this is how deep. Can we breathe on that for a minute? This is how deep that goes.
Let me sip this water to that, man.
Yeah, yeah. So the praise should be just as high, and that's what I think men are growing towards now. You know what I'm saying? And I won't be too long-winded on that point, but just remember, appreciation, love, and affection goes both ways. It's not a one-way street. So men just becoming frustrated in that aspect, that shouldn't be a problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Talking That Talk Official Podcast, where we have comfortable and uncomfortable conversations. I'm your host, Juice, aka The Ordinary Brother.
All right, what's good, everybody? I go by the name King Exodus. As always, we appreciate y'all for watching the show, for sharing your time with us. So, Juice, what we talking about?
Man, so tonight's topic is, should men be obsessed with women? Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Some of y'all ain't going to like what I say. I'm going to tell you straight up, no man should ever be obsessed with a woman, right? How this topic came about, I was sitting there on my Instagram scrolling, I'm looking at certain things flow through my Instagram, followers. And Spirit World had posted a guy saying, oh, men should be obsessed with women. It's weird. It's like, he says basically it's weird that they're not. And it clicked to me. I said, I talked about this before. I went back to my notes. January 9th, I made a post about a woman had made a statement as well back in, I think it was August 2022, making the same statement when that statement went viral. And I was like, yo, this dude is just recycling women's content and women's like mindset and speaking it as a man for confirmation for him. And in that post, I had said to myself, look, the only people who will be obsessed with you as a man are the weakest kinds. Obsession comes in two ways. One, it comes when a man is clearly in a beta state where he's not in an action, activity, or provider, or wanting to better himself. And two, when somebody's obsessed with another individual, it's usually in a lustful manner. So I always say, like, look, it's consciousness over coochie, politics over punani. Shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson. You got to be able to produce before wanting to hit them cheeks, right? I always ask myself, like, what is the big idea of wanting to have a man obsessed with you? What is the purpose of that? You can study your woman so well to a point where you're not obsessed, but you know the things that turn her on and turn her off and know how to move her in a direction that can be beneficial for both of y'all without you clearly having to be obsessed. Obsession is nothing more than attention. That's what they're really saying. Men need to be having a lot of attention towards us. That's my point.
Okay, cool. I agree to the points that you're aiming at. I don't know if obsession is the best word that should have been used in the video, but I understand, like, maybe the guy was talking about, like, the pursuit more so. And I would just simply say some people get lost into that whole pursuit aspect. I guess the mentioning is that the guy should do majority of the pursuit, which is true, but it's just the way it was put to where it was kind of like, okay, I just felt like if a woman was quote unquote negative, so to speak, or in her like toxic state, that can be like music to the ears because it wasn't elaborated enough on like how you using the word obsess is completely negative. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing that comes a priority in a man's life is his purpose, like what he's here to do. You know what I'm saying? Like you brought up providing. So the obsession goes there. He can have love for his woman. You know what I'm saying? He can have, like, you know what I'm saying, different levels of love and intimacy. But I think when that word got tossed around, people took it in a negative because people, for some reason, want somebody that's damn near crazy about them, or like just so like psychotic about them, damn near. Until they get psychotic and then they want out. Like that happens a lot.
Uh-huh.
But yeah. So like I said, the main focal point, if we go that route, it should be, of course, a man's ability to produce and be obsessed with his mission and his purpose, and then be able to produce and show effective love to his woman, not the whole crazy obsessed type thing. So you got it.
Man. So, like I said, as I was engaging over this this conversation with this particular content creator, like I said, I just went through a lot of his posts, and I'm like, yo, there's nothing original about this. I'm like, I can see why your page has grown phenomenally, right? It's catered to women, right? I always tell people women are the highest consumers in anything, right? Say the right things as a man, your page, your content, your products, it's going to be bought. Steve Harvey, Derrick Jackson, right? We gotta look, I'm telling you right now, I believe what's going on in the market is people are looking for the new Derrick Jackson. Fuck it, he fucked up. You know, he can't come back. He got caught in a situation not too long ago with basically cheating. And when he got caught about it, he said, well, look, guys, I didn't know I'm already filing for a divorce. The wife said, I didn't know nothing was going through a divorce. There was no paper filings. They even looked for the documents. So Derrick Jackson had did a great job over years just telling women what they want. And people like, well, hey, look, it's our time to shine, you know? He fucked up. He's no longer that guy. We know what to do. And I've seen several of these content creators starting to come into existence and doing the same exact thing as he did. And it's like, yo, do y'all understand any man who overly talks in one manner is hiding something behind your back? You know what I'm saying? One of the reasons why I love men like this is when they talk certain ways and try to deliver for his specific audience, if it's majority women, is the minute he fuck up, you can't come back from that. It's very rare you can. A lot of people, careers get short. A lot of things gets demonized after that, right? I remember I was just listening to one of Kevin Samuels' old videos. I listened to a lot of old videos before he blew up for all that stuff. He was talking about, look, he had a post going up like, hey, when's the last time you men did something nice for your women? And he was talking about how subscribers was like, yo, man, you tripped out, OG. You over here trying to trick all these women. Nah, man, we ain't spending money on these women. Nah, we ain't taking them on no nice dinner. They ain't deserving that. He's like, yo. I don't know what kind of page you think this is, but we ain't tripping. He said, over here at CIA, man, we ain't tripping on spending no money on no woman. I don't know what you think kind of content this is. We're not going to bash women. We're not going to do this. I'm just asking you simply, when's the last time you did something nice for women? And y'all act like y'all can't do that. And it hit me like, damn. Remember when he was talking to men, it didn't blow up. But the minute the topic switched, when he was talking more so addressing women, it blew up. So I just want people to pay attention to the different content. When men was talking to men, everybody's not looking at it like, oh man, he's really talking some sense into him. But the minute you start catering to the women audience, oh, it's gonna blow the fuck up. Steve Harvey's audience, majority women. That's it.
All right. So one of the key things that I get from the video is the dude was kind of talking negative about one key aspect when he was like, you know, men today, they want flowers and candy. And I'm like, I've never heard of that. But I understand what he was trying to say. All right. The dude want flowers and candy. That's another topic for another show. We're not even going to talk about that. Right? So moving forward, what I got from that is like, okay, are you trying to say like men don't want appreciation being shown towards them? Or is that only a one-way street? So it's like, even if the intent was cool behind the video, which I don't know, you say you watched more shit than I have.
I had to go research about that.
Right. Let's just say the intent was good. The message can be delivered wrong, once again, to the wrong listener. So appreciation goes two ways, especially in relationships. You know what I mean? So men just have a way of being effective and showing love, and women have a way of being effective and showing love as well. When there's a disconnect between those actions, now we got a problem. And it's not just to say that men don't deserve love, appreciation, and all these types of things either. So it's a balance there. And I think what's happening now is men are becoming more frustrated with not receiving that type of appreciation on a scale. You know what I mean? Versus their faults, their fuck ups, them being condemned. That's always been at an all-time high. It's always been the if men didn't fuck up, you probably wouldn't even have female R&B music. You know what I mean? Like, this is how deep. Can we breathe on that for a minute? This is how deep that goes.
Let me sip this water to that, man.
Yeah. So the praise should be just as high, and that's what I think men are growing towards now. You know what I'm saying? And I won't be too long-winded on that point, but just remember, appreciation, love, and affection goes both ways. It's not a one-way street. So men just becoming frustrated in that aspect, that shouldn't be a problem. So you got it?
Oh man, like I said, hey, look, like I said, it was. Then I read the comics. Right? He says, hey, this episode is related to the topic why, in order for a relationship to work, a man should be more obsessed with his woman. I said, oh shit, this dude is selling golds and diamonds, right? I can't tell you how many women I done talked to in my life, how many people that came on the show, how many people that called me, text me, who said the minute a man is underneath them all the time, it's repulsive. Don't you got something better to do? Like, I don't want, like, you know what I'm saying? It's cool for the time being, but what do they say? What's the word? They say, I love you so much, I'd rather let you go than, to be with you. Being too attached to somebody on that level can also be dangerous. As I say, obsession is a terrible word, right? Attention is a motherfucker too. Like I said, the most things you should do as a man is study a woman, right? You can study a woman to a point where it seems like you're obsessed, but like I said, you just know everything to do when it comes to her. In any situations, we got to be able to. Why is it the brother who studies a woman doesn't? That's the crazy part. All right, obsession is a strong word, right? But we can also say we can also say like obsession and stalking is basically the same thing, right? The same thing, right?
I think they have a connection.
Yeah, they got a connection, right? The man who studies a woman can be seen as a stalker, but if a man's obsessed with a woman, someone's like, it's like those words, like you can use one word more than the other because it sounds better. But but we do got to get back on topic when it comes to that, man. I always tell men, like, you gotta focus on producing as a man to make yourself a better man. That is the best way you could get over any situations. I'm talking to a young lady right now that's in Atlanta that we have built up a relationship. She's about to graduate to a CFO position. And as we're talking, I was like, man, like, how do you make time for all this? She was like, look, I really got to focus on things I need to better myself as a woman. I said, I feel the exact same way. I said, my intentions of why I read so much, why I'm around people so much, is I want to build myself so much better than other individuals and improvements that I can solve any problem, and I can also educate individuals. That's one of my main things as a man. I want to be able to solve problems. I want to be able to educate people, right? If I don't want to do one of those two, I probably don't want to be a man. That's comes responsibility to be a man. Can you solve problems? Can you educate people? Can you teach people? Can you move people? Two things right there, brothers. If you hear anything, you got to be able to educate people, and you got to be able to solve problems as a man. Be obsessed with that problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One question I got.
No.
Do women teach women what love is? And I think that's the biggest problem in what dude was talking about. If every woman is looking for the guy that's quote unquote obsessed with her, and that can be negative, then that means apparently that woman doesn't know what she's looking for out of a man correctly. And that would have to go back to what are we taught? You know what I'm saying? Attention seeking is an all-time high. It affects everything. You know what I mean? So if that's the number one thing that women are taught to seek for in a man, then that's completely negative. You know what I mean? So we have to make sure that we teach each other properly what love is and what are the signs of love. All right. So, and like I said, I'm going back to the appreciation factor that dude brought up in the video. One thing you can think about is just look at what happens on two holidays, right? You got Mother's Day. Mother's Day, everything is packed. Like, if you didn't make reservations, you out of there. You know what I'm saying? You pull up somewhere late, Mother's Day, try to get a table, yo, 2 hour wait, 3 hour wait. You know what I'm saying? Father's Day, that should be empty. Like, you can just go in and it's a totally different dynamic. So make sure that also that appreciation for the family setting is on both sides. Like, society plays a part in that. So I think it leaves the door open for guys to come in the picture, make these type of Derrick Jackson type videos, right or wrong 100%, but it leaves the door wide open because everybody's saying the same old shit, which is what people want to hear. And then you bring somebody like Kevin Samuels into the picture, right? That really took his shot at both sexes, to be honest, but no one wants to hear what he's saying because of the delivery. So we got to get into a space when it comes to like relationship advice. If we're going to tap into these social media videos, make sure we can tap into both sides of them to where both sexes get they, you know what I'm saying, they, what's the word I'm looking for? Things that condemn their actions versus always praise their actions. So you got it.
Man, so I want to bring back what you just said with those two holidays alone, right? I remember at one point in time when it was Mother's Day would be packed. But do you know, in some people's mind, Mother's Day is twice a year, even on Father's Day? That shit used to blow my fucking mind. I used to be like, hold up, man. Right? I can listen, I'll be honest, I was one of those individuals too. I was like, man, my pops was around, so Mother's Day is twice a year. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? As I look back, I only did that one time in my life. And I had to remember, like, the valuable essences, like having men around me that did help me become who I am, right? That's like, yo, but it was still fathers like us on the outside still teaching the world, even the ones that didn't have their biological father. So I was like, yeah, I can't shit on men like that ever again in my life. You know what I'm saying? It was just that split instance when I'm in an emotional state. And I kind of want to say, and that when I made that post, it's as almost I was trying to get attention my damn self, right? Because like they said, bro, it's a lot of single mothers out there. So if a man is gonna be saying certain things, you know they're gonna gravitate towards that. Hey, bottom line. Now when it comes to appreciation of the man, let me tell you something right now. You don't appreciate a man, your friend will. Your friend will. I'll be telling people, if y'all ever pay attention to some of these big black movies, big black dramas, all it ever took was a woman showing him unappreciation and another woman being there saying, hey, I see you. I appreciate you. You're a hardworking man. What happens? He cave in. He knee deep in them guts after that. What we just see on BMF, man? What did we just see on BMF? Charles said, fuck this. You know what I'm saying? His woman trying to restrain him from sex, the respect, the encouragement, the power. That he went to another woman. He fixing the house. Hey, Charles, I appreciate you doing this. Oh, man, I wonder if your wife ever tells you you're a hardworking man. It takes one time to show a man that you don't appreciate or let another woman be there. It's over. I'm telling you right now, it's just over. Y'all better appreciate the men around you who's willing to teach you, aid you, and don't ever say like, "Hey, you got to do something for me in order to respect you." Like I said, looking at Charles' situation at BMF is mind blowing. Like, yo, bro, it's crazy that this is a show, but in the real world, this is some people's reality. I'm telling you right now, have that type of man and don't show appreciation, it's over. I guarantee it. He's smacking some cheeks. I guarantee it.
And Charles is probably the most hated character in TV right now. Him and Ghost. People hate the show.
Okay, here we go.
And it's crazy that I mean, you brought up a good point. A lot of women have watched that will see Charles cheating, but they won't get the whole thinking process behind it. How you broke it down. So yeah, that man was willing to risk it all for 5 strokes. 5 strokes. That's all he needed. The feminine energy was so high, he just needed 5 strokes of that. That's all he needed.
Hey,
So off of Charles, man. So going back to the video, I think what the dude also was trying to say, and some of it that I got from it was like the masculine lead aspect in a relationship, and I think he was taking shots at that at the same time. But I would just simply say there is a point where, like, the male and the female in a situation can't be in like that feminine state of mind, like waiting for somebody else to make a certain play or make a move. You know what I mean? So I think he was taking his shots at that, which clearly, you know what I'm saying. But at the same time, like I'm saying, like men do have to play a particular role into making sure things advance. You know what I mean? Like decisions and all that type of things, putting forth initiative, actions, quote unquote. So yeah, like I said, leave the door open for men to come and say some maybe some right shit, put a little sprinkle of bullshit on there, and then all of a sudden, like I said, the negative women hear it and it's like music to their ears. So men do have to take a particular role. And like you say, the appreciation factor goes both ways. And I would say, like, we have to be careful, like, we bring up the word obsessed. Kendrick Lamar just won an award at the Grammys, right, for the best hip-hop album, right? And I think the #1 song that people latched on to was the most toxic song on the album. That sounded like a dude that was definitely obsessed with this woman. They was equally obsessed with each other. That shit was crazy. That's like Blueface and old girl with the tooth. Yeah, yeah. And that's crazy too, man, because people be showing pictures of her and they say what she looked like before Blueface, like Blueface the problem. Man,
no.
Yeah, I'm shut up. But yeah, what I would say on that, man, you attract people in your high state and your low state. So even in your low energy, you're still attracting people at the same time. So just because you attract somebody on your low vibration and that become toxic, don't point fingers at the men and say this is how the women look before the men. It's a connection between them. They equally guilty in those situations.
Oh,
so you got it.
Definitely. Listen, I watched a couple episodes. Krishan was stealing off on females. She wasn't you know what I'm saying? What we say, smash first or smash late, or get smashed. She was. So I'm like, golly. So, you know what I'm saying? It's only so much you can try to paint a man as a bad guy till you realize some people are just willing participants, right? What happened with Harley Quinn and the Joker? The Joker, Harley Quinn thought she was aiding the Joker. Joker had her. Then after that, she was just a willing participant to anything he wanted to do. Come on, man. Like, and I also want to mention this right now, right? Let's say men was obsessed with women. What do you think this world would look like?
I'm going to be honest, man.
A lot of shit wouldn't get done. I'm going to be honest. A lot of shit wouldn't get done. Right?
Go ahead.
I'm about to say, I don't think the roles would be as they are. I don't think the military would be as strong as they are. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to be able to think clearly on the word obsession when it comes to productivity. And a world full of, like I said, if everybody's obsessed, like, think about it, man. And the minute you get off work, you going right back home. I don't think nobody lifting weights at the gym or nothing, man. Food ain't getting cooked. Like, look, this is the last burger. I got to get home. You know what I'm saying? It's like there was a difference between me being in love and me being obsessed, right? Like I said, if I ever was really into somebody in an obsession state, it was nothing but lust. It was like, yeah, man, I can't wait to hit this. You know, I'm trying to, I'm doing that. But see, love has always kept me more up on a way to want to do more, give me more, and like do stuff like that. I done talked about times where I got an hour before work, I ain't go to sleep. I'm just sitting there kicked up outside my car talking to somebody. I'm really feeling, I miss you. Oh, I miss you too. Like, you're going to be late, Jonathan. You need to go to work. Hurry up. I'm like, no, I got a little more time. Man, as soon as I get to home, I got a burst of energy. Oh, yeah, I'm throwing the shit out of boxes. Yeah, I'm on a whole different level. But see, I always said obsession is no more than a hunt, right? You got to be able to start down what you want. But then when you finally get it, it ain't the same. You got it now. But that's my little 2 cents right there. What if the world? I mean, what if men was obsessed? That was what I said.
All right, and this is what I think. I kind of see it a little different. However, I think that is the problem that men actually are, on average. You know what I mean? Like,
On
we
average.
look at something like OnlyFans right now. Like, a female can get on an app, social media app, and make six figures
Mhm.
just by taking pictures of herself and videos. Like, that's a world where men are obsessed with women. And there's different things on OnlyFans, so I've heard.
Oh yeah,
I'm not,
it's
you
definitely
know what I
different
mean?
things on that.
But I'm just saying, things like that wouldn't be able to exist if men weren't obsessed with
Mhm.
women.
Good
We
point.
look at like the whole, mostly how everything flows right now in society is based around that. You know what I'm saying? The reason why a man want biggest jewelry, the rims on his car, he wanted to, it's all based on attracting women. So we are in a world where there are more quote unquote beta men than any other type of man there is. Right? So if you actually sit down like the average thinking man, getting his mind off sports and women, it's like damn near impossible. You know what I'm saying? And that's if he's into sports, but he's probably going to most likely be into women. That type of man. Talking about man, right? So that's the average thinking mentality. You know what I'm saying? We hear rappers say it all the time. If dudes would spend half the time they spend chasing the females, chasing the money, it'd be a quicker route to success. And it'll be a quicker route to the women, quote unquote, because they'll chase behind those material things as well.
Mhm.
Every rapper, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, all of
I
them
just
saying
say
the
50
same
Cent
thing.
said it.
Yeah.
Chase the paper,
So
they take this shit.
so we are in a world where I do think men are really primarily obsessed with women. And it may not to be in a family aspect, may not to be in a reproductive aspect, but it's definitely into the sexual aspect, like you brought up earlier, lust. You know what I mean? So that's where we are right now. I don't know where women or men can get off into a space thinking that the average man isn't obsessed with a woman or women in general. The whole world would be different then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Women go to clubs, free to get in. Men pay to go to the same clubs to find women. Like, if that didn't exist, world would be different, right? So,
Hmm. Well, I also do between, like they said, it depends on the quality of the club you're going to at the same time. Men are willing to pay for more quality type of women, depending on the settings and where you go.
yeah,
And
you're going
also,
up to the,
if the roles were reversed and it was single women, you think single women would pay to see men? So yeah, so it can
and
work.
that's that battle words, catch and prize. Like,
Mhm.
eventually, like, both y'all gonna have to be like each other's prize or a prize to each other.
Right.
Like, that's the only way the value is gonna balance out. If you started worrying about who's the catch and all that, society determines that, right? At one point, the man was the catch because a woman wasn't nothing if she wasn't married.
Mhm.
It didn't matter if she had children. You didn't have a family. Like, society determines that shit. It's not up to people to say who's the catch and who's the prize 100% of the time. So, yeah.
Right, because like you said, it goes back and forth. Because then another person would then argue that point and be like, well, if a man can provide for you 100%, who's to say he's not the prize? Because a lot of people will never experience a man who can provide for you on that level. So
Mhm.
I was like, oh, okay. That's it. As you can say, we can keep going back and forth on that, but it does say a lot at the same time, right? So one man will be like, look, the prize I got is a woman who could come home and have things set in place for myself and for the kids. He won. A woman be like,
Mhm.
yo, I have a man, or a woman can look at it like I have a man who does this on an exceptional level, who also aids me in other ventures I want to do. You know what I'm saying? The catch is all mental at the same time. It's all
Mhm.
about how you look at yourself and how that other person looks at you. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I got right there, man. Like I said, this is really like a quick topic, nothing too long, nothing too big. You have anything else you want to talk about on the subject?
Hell yeah, I do, man.
Yeah,
You know I always do, man. But that's all the question is that, man. So my last point,
yeah.
for real. I ain't gonna do what I
Nah,
want
you
to
gonna
do.
say that about 10 more times?
All right, so two things I gotta bring up, man. You keep on thinking like you the prize and all this shit, and people should kiss the ground you walk on 100% of the time, and you ain't got to do nothing. Two things you got to think about: the retirement age and life expectancy. What I'm trying to say is either you're gonna retire alone and die broke and probably have to go back to work, or you know what I'm saying, focal point is you may die alone if you think like that. You know what I mean? Like, value is a two-way street. Just always remember that. I think it's no duh that society kind of tricked people in how they engage into relationships. If people are worried about all the wrong shit, none of the positive shit, none of the shit that actually makes sense, like I said, retirement, life expectancy, like a lot of people get into relationships and marriages, and insurance is not even a word that's on the table. But we're talking about obsession. Like, just look at what's going on. Like, income, what's our financial goals, how we're going to raise children. None of that obsession. So you just got to look at what we prioritize in relationships, and then you'll see the results of that in society. So you got
Man, okay, man, you said something good. This also bringing it back to the time when we did the Tom Brady comment. I just watched a clip from Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco.
Yeah.
Right? Shannon Sharpe, Ocho Cinco asked Shannon Sharpe, like, hey, man, why didn't you ever get married? And he was like, you know what? He said, no. Let's take it to the, like, forget these cameras and do barbershop talk. Why do you think you ever got married? He was like, look, man, I'm going to be honest. He said, my obsession was football. He said, that was my main focus. No matter what, it was always football, right? He said, some women thought they could be number two to my life, and said, it's no problem until they really seen I was obsessed with football, right? He said, I was a terrible boyfriend. I was a terrible father. I was a terrible this and that. He said, at the end of the day, he said, at about to be 55, I realized I did all that, and I have nothing to show for it. Like, nobody come home to. I've been, he said, I'm by myself now. He said, if I could do anything different, I probably would have kind of refocused at the same time, right? That's why when it came to, like I said, the Tom Brady talk, you had mentioned that at first, like, oh, how much can you do until you realize you got to spend time with your family? And I always said, and my standpoint was like, depending on that man, like every man operates different. Shannon thought he could operate on that level where he could keep his main focus on business and career and not have to give in time. The woman just got to understand everything that I'm doing in order to be with me. He thought he could do that and live with it until he realized, hey, maybe I was wrong, right? Now you got Tom Brady this year saying what? Hey, man, guys, I'm stepping off the field. I'm retired. And that's crazy. One season later, after he went back to the NFL, and now he's retiring now, he lost his whole family. So, but I pray, man, that man was able to get his family back, man. Because I think he's seen the big picture now.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Make time for everything. There would be no point in having a family if they didn't feel. And it's just really like some people could play around with the word time. By time, we don't mean like a lot of like physical scale time. We're just talking about like impact of time.
Yeah.
Like you still gotta let your impact be there and let those people know that you love them. You know what I mean? So a lot of famous people had that problem. Men, the world, you know what I'm saying, love this person. The world feel like they love them, and then the household gets the bottom end of the stick, so they don't feel the same love. So it's just about balance and what's impactful. Yeah, you might not have all the time in the world, but just make the time that you have count. That's pretty much how that works.
Oh, great question. Why is it so common for a man to help a woman get on her feet or invest into her, yet a man don't receive the same? Well, like I said earlier, a man's always taught to provide. No matter the state that woman's in, if she has the qualities or the aspects and stuff, a man's supposed to help her get on her feet. As for a man, hey, you're supposed to already be on your feet to a certain extent. Now, there have been women, I'll be honest, there are women that help men get on their feet and become better, but we always talk about the majority of the times, right? For instance, I remember I was having this conversation with some women, and we was talking about a certain stage where you can accept a man and where you can't accept a man, right? The acceptance already is, look, I can't accept a man. Let's say if I gotta accept a man, he at least gotta make 75K or more. And I'm like, damn. Okay, we got the finances. What about height? He gotta at least be 6 foot. I'm like, damn. All right, so like we going down the whole nudge and everything of qualifications, right? So a woman asked me like, what is your basis of if you're about to engage into a woman? I said, listen, I like a woman who's nice, who's well kept. Finances. I said finances really don't matter to me. A woman said, could you be with a woman Then the question got popped, could you be a woman that makes more than you? I said, yeah, because it's not going to happen for a long time. I got too much shit set in my future right now. I'm like, you going to already be a millionaire right now. But I'm like, the way I move, I'm too obsessed with growing, getting better. And like they said, average millionaire at least has 5 to 7 sources of income. So I'm working on that. That's one of my obsessions right there. And then she's like, what about height? I was like, never cared about height. I did not get on a tree before. And they started laughing, you know. And then, like I said, we're just going through other qualities. But I said, like, their minimum and my minimum was completely different. See, like they said, and that's when I made the statement. I was like, see, if you pay attention, women, I said men marry down more than they marry up. Only women tend to marry up. But then I also love men who actually are men that are traditional. The fathers who actually teach their daughters, like, hey, listen, just to let you know, when you get married, I'm no longer responsible for you. Meaning that man has taught the woman, like, listen, you need to make sure this man can provide for you. You need to make things, certain things or aspects and categories are in place before you proceed forward. Because once that happens, remember, this is your family now. I'm still your father, but you need to tend to your family first. And I'm like, oh, there be some cold brothers out there, man.
Cool. Yeah, I don't remember the question, man.
My fault. Why is it common for a man to help a woman get on her feet or invest in her, yet a man don't receive the same thing?
Hypergamy. We're built around hypergamy, just to keep it simple. And of course, you know, it's pros to that, most definitely. But I don't get the flip side to it. That's just more the common thing, and that's what we follow. Men provide, men do all these types of things. There have been like a few situations where, you know, you got like people like Jeff Bezos who didn't really provide at first, but provided later. He hit it big with his idea.
Correct.
He wouldn't have made it pop without the woman. You know, a lot of women like to hear that kind of shit. You know, she made it possible. Okay, yes, she did that. Right.
I'm laughing at what the fuck
You know, so
shit.
he was able to become what he became, and then when it didn't work out, he gave up $35 billion and our percentages in the company. So, yeah, you have hypergamy, and then you also have women and men that have standards, people that have things that they're willing to negotiate. Some people see potential in people, positive and negative, and then females can invest into men. It happens. It happens a lot. That's why I just brought up the Jeff Bezos example. So hopefully that answers the question.
Right. Right. I mean, the only other example I can say is I could pertain to my own family. Mm-hmm. My grandpa told his kids, look, as men, y'all on y'all own. But my daughter, she's going to be provided for. So he literally said, like, hey, as a man, you're going to have to figure this shit out. But as for my daughter, you can say, hey, listen. In fact, Steve Harvey just popped in my goddamn mind right now. Steve Harvey said on his show, he said, look, whatever my daughters wanted, a man asked him, like, hey, have you ever disciplined your daughters or took any initiation? And he looked at the man like, is you crazy? And he said, look, anything my daughters ever asked me for, I gave it to them. They wanted a house, I gave it to them. They wanted a horse, I gave it to them. They wanted clothes, I gave it to them. They wanted cars, I gave it to them. I gave them everything they wanted. So if you want to date my daughter, you better be ready to spoil them. So I was like, what the fuck is this? But like they said, men, his sons, they got to defend for themselves. Shaq said the same thing. Shaq said, hey, the boys, y'all on your own. But the women, I'm going to take care of y'all as long as y'all need to. So you got to pay attention to how those things maneuver.
Man, and oh boy, I get it. And a lot of people got to separate their personal trauma and issues with society and parenting. It don't always connect, because most black men that probably came from nothing, you probably was on some Lil Wayne shit. What he said at 14, I came home from tour. My mama told me I'm gonna have to start paying bills. But I'm like, did anybody hear that speech? 14, you have to pay bills? So when we make this the narrative, right, and these men potentially have daughters who probably had this weight on their shoulders all this time, probably felt they should have provided for mama and couldn't because they was kids and they shouldn't have been in that position nonetheless. So now I think these type of men grow up And now they give their daughter everything they probably couldn't get a mother. They give a daughter probably what they can't even give a woman being a wife. You know what I'm saying? That becomes the energy where they show that highest actions of appreciation towards that feminine energy. And your daughter shouldn't be your queen. You know what I mean? Like when we say, oh, you my princess and all that kind of shit, like it's cute and it's cool, but that energy can't like rule a man's parenting to where he's like, I'm gonna make life real for my sons and my daughter. I'm gonna just keep this facade in front of her face. So what you're doing is for a man to come into that position, he got to play into the illusion as well. And I'm sorry, your princess and your whatever, she don't have that same magnetic energy in the world. That's not how the world is gonna see her. Right. So she got to be able to survive in that world, not this elusive world that you're thinking about and creating. So we just got to be careful. A lot of times, like, you know, Biggie rapped about it, putting so many carrots in this baby girl ear, and the rest of the world is like, why would you give a baby that much jewelry? Yeah. It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, so it's things we flex about, and it's like, is this shit really making sense? Right. You know what I'm saying? Even some people take it further. Cardi B and Offset bought their daughter like a Birkin bag and shit like that at the age she is. So,
I know what that is.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then you got Steve Harvey. You know what I'm saying? You have different people that just, like I say, giving our kids what we didn't have and what we couldn't give people out of trauma is cool, but it has to be done at a healthy standpoint at the same time. So spoiling our daughters and making them think that the world is just going to cater to them, that's not the real world. And we're preparing them, once again, rest in peace to the Godfather, we're preparing them to die alone.
God, yeah, man. Bring him back, bro. Bring back Kevin Samuels, man. That's my only wish, man. No. Bring back Kevin Samuels, Nipsey Hussle, Malcolm X, and a couple other people, man. Bring them back, man. They bring them all back, man. But not because, like he's saying, like you're harming your own child because you're catering too much. Mm-hmm. So when you do that and try to do the job for us, it's like we don't know this dude. Like, right. Crazy enough, there's a dude out of Houston, right? Mm-hmm. His name is David Aminetti, right? Everybody knows he's like a multi-millionaire, right? And I remember he went to go visit his daughter at work, and she was working at Chick-fil-A at the time. This is a multi-millionaire. Mm-hmm. He pulled up to see his daughter. I don't know if he was in his Ferrari or Rolls Royce. He was in one of those cars. Mm-hmm. Just to see his daughter work. She brought him the food. He's smiling. I'm reading the comments. All the comments was negative. They're like, why you got your daughter working? You're a millionaire. Why you just didn't buy her no Chick-fil-A? I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
Buy her?
Yes, bro. Yeah. Comments on fire. Why you ain't buying Chick-fil-A? If I'm multi-millionaire, my kids ain't working. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm leading them, he's just responding back like, hey, be humble. You know, show grace. She wants to know how it is to experience things on her own. She wants to make her own money. Right? She even has a quote-unquote regular car. He's a multi-millionaire.
A regular
car. Why you give her that type of car? You know you could have gave her a Tesla or something. I'm like, yo, man, I'm like, yo, it's crazy because like it's once you get to a certain stage, it's like if you want to teach your kids the real world, you can't even teach them the real world. It's just give them every fucking thing.
The girls.
Yeah, the girls.
The girls. Hey, look, one thing, man. You did this. I didn't do this. This is you. So, it's your fault. So, when we raise our daughters, quote unquote, let's say we rich and we still want them to experience real life, quote unquote, right? And we do that. You do realize when you work your 9 to 5 and you hate your boss with a passion and you hope they get into like 3 car wrecks and flip over the freeway, that's because you 9 times out of 10 working for somebody that never knew what it was to work. I know a lot of people on 9 to 5s been there multiple years, and they like, these motherfuckers make decisions that's so stupid, like they never been out here before. They haven't. Why? Because no one made them work properly. They was probably born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Never had a job. So now these people step into leadership positions and roles, and you want empathy from these people. But if you had the opportunity to not raise that individual in society, you wouldn't take it because you'd be so caught up in spoiling your damn kids. So now you're going to raise someone else's asshole husband and wife, asshole boss or manager or supervisor. You're going to throw that into society and you wouldn't want to deal with it yourself. So that's all I got.
Man, definitely. You know what I'm saying? I'll say this. Even for myself, I've always been like, I'd rather just pay somebody to do it, right? If there's a chance you can actually learn how to do shit on your own, you might want to just take that leap, right? I'm still using tools for the first time in my life. I know men been using since they was fucking kids. Why? Sure, I just never wanted to bother. I'd rather just pay somebody else to do it. But like I said, you don't build up more character. Like, man, look, I was working on my goddamn car, y'all. Working on that motherfucker. I fixed the problem, right? When I fixed the problem, I was like, hell yeah, this is what it's like to be a fucking man. Like I said, it be the smallest things you do that make you feel amazing, bro. So like I said, like I fixed the problem to my car, and I was like, yeah, this was like to be a man. To a mechanic, he's like, yo, we do that for a living. But to a person who has never done it, it's a different type of energy that kicks in immediately. Because then you start having more appreciation for people who do it for a living, because then it's natural to them. So I like it'd be the smallest things that you got to teach yourself and get out there and do. And I'm telling you, it's just a different story, right? Just like there's women, like we talked about the South Life. You got women right now who's trying to relearn what they learned. It was like, damn, this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Like I didn't have to do all this shit, and I'm just being nice and soft, and I'm getting things, like I said, right? We know if you manipulate them. We know if you manipulate them. Mm-hmm. But yes, they get a whole different type of energy now that they become softer. But yeah, man. This is like we can bring a whole other subject out of some of this shit.
Shout out to the South.
Hey, yo, Ray comes up for that. Hey, Ray comes up for that. I said, what's the red cut up? I said, Ray comes up for that, man. You got a red cup? I got it. There we go. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate y'all for watching as always. Talking and Talk official podcast. Up top, we got No Ordinary Brother. I go by the name of King Exodus. Make sure you tap into their YouTube channel. We are out.